Welcome to Cannabis School. I'm your host, Jesse Angeles.
And I'm Brandon Elder.
And we're here to talk to you about everything pertaining to cannabis, from vape,
flower,
edibles,
strains,
and everything in between. So everybody, we want to be able to welcome Johnathan from 5280, inventor of this Happy Camper pipe. You've heard us talking about it a lot. We are over the moon for this. We think it's amazing.
So I have a question, Johnathan.
I have an answer.
Where did the idea of this come from?
This this all came out of self-desire. Honestly, I this is the pipe I always wanted. I started smoking pretty late. I was 21. I had a good friend who got clothesline playing basketball, shattered his shoulder, started smoking marijuana a little bit more heavier than he used to. And he came down and hung out with me. And I was a super straight-laced kid, like no drugs, no alcohol, nothing, right? And he's like, look, dude, I'm a smart guy. I'm not trying to fuck up my life. Like, this is something that really helps me. Just try it. If you don't like it, you never have to do it again. You're safe right now. I'll take care of you. I said, okay, cool. So, he hands me the bong. I take a big rip on it. Didn't know that you're supposed to pull the bowl. Just cleared the entire thing. I used to play soccer a lot. Yeah, I had big lungs. And, a lot of people were like, yeah, first time I smoked, I didn't get high. Oh, no, I got high. Let me tell you. Oh, great googly moogly. I'm sitting there. My friend's like, yo, dude, that was crazy. How you feel? Like, cool. He starts packing another bowl for himself, puts on some music. He's rocking out. He starts smoking again. So, you sure you're all right, dude? I'm like, yeah, I just see cartoons. There's just cartoons everywhere. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, like the old fashioned, like, instrument, like black and white things where they would like pull up each other's necks, and then all of a sudden he was a bass. Like, that's what I saw in my head as I'm listening to my friend's music, right?
Holy
cow. He starts laughing. He starts busting up. He's like, that's hilarious. So I was like, oh, dude, it just changed. There's just Pokemon. There's Pokemon running around everywhere now. And he starts busting up, right? And I know this sounds like woo, like, oh man, what did he have in that bowl? And I'm just telling you, it was just my super active imagination running with it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what got me into this originally. And I started smoking with some other people, and I'd go over and I noticed a difference, right? Like, this person had a really clean bong. I enjoyed this smoke. That person's bong, just looking at it, made me feel uncomfortable, and have a good experience. So really clean pipes were always my thing. Just got to have a clean pipe.
Yeah.
But I put out some money. I got this really fancy pipe. It was really badass, custom blown from a guy out in Colorado. But there was one area, right? The way he made the bowl, the bud would get stuck out in the front, and it would just continuously build this glob of nastiness. And it didn't matter what I put in there. I just couldn't get it out. And I tried reaching in there with, like, the pipe cleaners and all that. Never could get it out. And it got to a point where I was like, this is kind of gross. Like, how old is that? I started learning about the mold that builds up on this stuff. I was like, how much mold have I been pulling into my lungs? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So then I was like, why can't I find a pipe, lay down, bud, that comes apart and is easy to clean? Well, the answer is they're made out of glass, and you can't do that with glass. And if you can, oh my gosh, you are the best glass blower I've ever seen in my life. That's amazing. So started thinking about it. I started getting into the production industry, started manufacturing things, got close with a friend who actually bought his own CNC machines, built his own shop. And I asked him, I was like, hey, dude, I know you're a really straight-laced guy. He's never even drank anything, never like touched anything. And I was like, this is my idea. And I started explaining why. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not just for me. If we can make this easier, people who are using this for like really, really extreme illnesses, right? We want to help them as best we can. And let's make it easier, but also healthier for them to do. Yeah. So if you start looking into it, a lot of the carcinogens that are in nicotine are also in marijuana, just because that's how a plant grows, right? Like,
You're
it's
burning a
right?
plant and
And that's
inhaling it
not to
into
say
your
that like
lungs.
the correlation between cancer and marijuana still doesn't exist. We can't find it.
Yeah.
So there's something else in tobacco that's causing it. The other 400 and something chemicals they're adding into cigarettes might have something to do with it.
And on that same line, like when you have the lungs of a nicotine smoker versus the lungs of a cannabis smoker, long term, you're looking at it. If you stop smoking cigarettes, that long term effect on your lungs is still there. But the bronchial effects that any cannabis smoker sees from long term use actually dissipate if you stop smoking.
Exactly.
So that effect they notice goes away. So the cannabis lungs, the user's lungs, are not as bad as the nicotine. But you're right, there are still a lot of the same carcinogens. And that's what I've looked at because I'm like, I've not seen any bong, anything that's well, there's Scientific Inhalations is this company who makes a bong that they're supposed to remove carcinogens or 99% of the carcinogens too.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's incredible because you think about it. And if you regularly use and you genuinely care about your overall health, burning anything and inhaling it into your body is not going to be the best thing for you. Like, yes, people are going to fight and argue, like, well, it hasn't hurt me or it hasn't done this. And it's like, but when was the last time you went and had x-rays and MRIs and scans of your lungs
Last
and
week.
your overall things done?
All last week.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. See,
So and on that point, they say it hasn't done anything to me, but that's a very linear experience they have, right? Like people that say, "Oh, it hasn't done anything to me," it's like maybe, but you don't have a parallel self that hasn't been smoking to see like
yeah, the comparison.
like what would be different, right? Like, and the parallel smoker, who knows? Maybe they would have been in so much pain that they got into opiates, and now,
Yeah.
Now
they're on a whole nother track.
we know the story, right?
Right.
Um,
Oh,
but
Utah
that's what
knows it all
comes
too
down
well.
to.
We're huge for
If
opiates.
you stop pulling the smoke in, your lungs get better, right? But you can take an edible, but if you're in extreme pain, you still have to wait.
How many
I think they
hours?
have it down to like 15 minutes now, right? But still,
That's
15
true.
minutes of extreme pain is 15 minutes of extreme pain.
And for
Whereas,
people who
you
live
take
with
this
that,
hit, and you're like,
instantaneous.
hey, it feels amazing. I'm okay now. I can take care of myself.
Yep.
So by just adding that little filter, right? You split it apart, you put the filter in, and you close it up. Now it's catching all those carcinogens, but you're still getting the THC, which it
Yeah.
seems like you guys are enjoying it. I think the high is better. My lungs don't hurt,
Yeah.
know?
And it's out of a pipe. Like,
It's
Yeah,
out of a
that's
pipe.
for someone who's
crazy.
been historically a bong person for years, I mean, I still would smoke joints, pipes,
Pens.
an occasional blunt. Yeah, pens. I don't like blunts
Oh.
as much because I hate the tobacco. I really don't like that experience.
I don't
It's
mind.
harsh.
See, I'm on the other. I love
But
I'm the inventor of this, right?
I was never in
I love a
nicotine.
blunt.
It's just, I don't know. But I was straight laced growing up, as in, like, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything. And getting introduced to it at like 18, I was around it for a year with friends, regularly going, hey, do you want to try this? Hey, do you want to try this? Finally, they stopped asking because I just kept telling them no. And finally, this weird little Mormon kid's going to his friends going, hey, you guys want to get high? And they're like, no, I'm probably good. And I'm like, no, I'd do it with you. And they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, I'd smoke with you guys. And then, my first time, I don't really feel like I was high. I acted like an idiot because that's what I thought high people did. But I didn't actually experience high till months later. And I was driving home by the time it hit. Granted, it was 3 o'clock in the morning in a little town where there's no one on the roads. And I'm going 20 miles an hour, literally thinking I'm racing down the road. And I look down at the speed and I'm like, I'm going 20. Like, I'm not going fast. Okay. I'm like, well, there's no one around. I'm not going to hit anyone. So I guess that's okay. I've got like a mile till my house, but the first time was months after I started partaking that I even experienced that.
And I'm thinking about that right now. when looking at this pipe and experiencing that one, I really want to be able to get into the internal design and why that is the way it is, and choosing the filter that you guys chose for this one. But what I really feel it's awesome about this is that for those who are getting into cannabis, we always tell them flower first, because that's going to be the best experience that you get, bar none. I mean, anything else, tinctures, all that other fun stuff. I can't stand it when I'm talking to somebody who's brand new to it, going, "Oh, I don't smoke. That's so bad for you. I just have edibles." And I'm like, "You are ridiculous. What's your tolerance level?" They go, "I don't know. I just take the edible." So you already know that they're either putting themselves into couch lock or extreme panic. So it's like, why would you ever want to not start with something that you
But
can
remember,
control?
why is that?
Because of the negative connotation around smoking.
Yeah.
So when you eat marijuana, okay,
Oh, it.
Yep.
it's a whole different thing. It has an
course.
interaction with your liver, and your
Right.
liver itself secretes another chemical called 11-hydroxy metabolite. So when you smoke weed and when you eat weed, they're very different experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
And
11 hydroxy is totally different than
oh,
Delta 9.
100%. Like one of the cool things you told me about it, like put it in the freezer for like 5 minutes and then load your bowl. It's an amazing experience. And Brandon left his like almost overnight.
No,
Oh
it was
no.
no. It was about an hour because I
Yeah,
set
he
it
did.
in when we first started recording, but I wanted to do it when we did a specific episode.
Yeah.
And so I used the bong for the first episode, and then when I pulled this out, it had been 40 minutes to an hour.
Just
And
let it thaw for a little bit.
the only
Okay.
only thing I would say was it was not an issue with the piece, but it was just because I had left it in there so long. There was like ice buildup on it almost that melted, and so I just had to wipe off the outside of the pipe because it was a
Okay.
little bit wet. And then aside from that, because I let it sit for maybe 5 minutes
But
after
tell
I
him
pulled
about
it
the
out of the
cool
pipe.
part, like when you
Oh yeah.
pulled.
Well, every time I put it in the freezer and I take that hit, the first hit, second hit,
It's like nothing.
don't feel like you're inhaling anything. You only
You
get
only see it.
flavor on the exhale.
Yeah,
that
that was the
it.
cool part too, is that you get to really
Experience the flower.
experience flower, and I
Yeah.
don't think anywhere you get that feeling. I mean, no bong, no volcano that I've ever tried to vaporizer, that you get that flavor. And that's typically for your more advanced cannabis consumer.
That you
Is it
get the notes. Yeah.
yeah, you can start going over there, piney, like you're this weird was it Smolier over there going, I'm detecting hints of earth, and is that
From the
pear?
eastern region of Italy.
That's got to be pineapple as well, right? It's
So
just
one of the best things about, really getting into cannabis is what you guys are talking about with the flavor and whatnot, right? There's a particular moment in everybody's experience where they go, "Oh my gosh, this smells completely different than this." And I can tell the difference between what a sativa smells like and what an indica smells like and what a hybrid should smell like.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
and
crazy.
it changes everything.
And then you have your flavonoids, and then you're like, okay. And you can start feeling even difference in cannabinoids. And you're like, ooh, this one doesn't have CBN in it. This one's got CBG. And you can feel like where it hits you differently, how it affects you differently. It's crazy the experience from cannabis when I started to now.
I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but I think, let's see, University of New Mexico, I think it was. They did a study a few months ago, and they used the same structure that was used in the 1970s that proved that alcohol made people more aggressive.
Yep.
But they, instead of using alcohol, they substituted it for cannabis. And when they used alcohol, it made people more aggressive. They didn't pick up on social norms as easy. Switch it to marijuana. They found that people were more empathetic and calmer, and that there was no relation to anger and creation in any way, shape, or form. But you could literally take a person that's on the far left and a person that's on the far right, and you could get them in a room and you could get them high. And instead of them yelling at each other, they were able to sit down and calmly discuss their ideas, but then put themselves in the other person's position and see where they were coming from.
Holy shit.
That's what we need.
Whoa.
It's like we've talked about this for every political meeting.
Yeah.
This needs to fucking happen.
You know what they need to do? They need to have cannabis special forces, and these guys have these special gas grenades, but it's all THC. And when they toss it in there, then they just use it like those flex cuffs, but they just do it to the doors, and they just leave them in there and smoke them out. And then when they open it up,
Well, and when someone's too ignorant, they literally just go and like hold a bag over their head that has straight THC in it for about 10 seconds.
oh,
And then all they can inhale is that. And then they take the bag off, and then the person's a lot more logical.
well, you think about that. Like, what if there was a hostage situation, right? There's a hostage situation, and they just freaking fog that room down, and then they don't allow him to leave. And then he starts begging him, going, dude, if you could just give me a cup of water. My mouth is so parched, right? You get the right strain that just really makes you hungry and real dry mouth. You will comply, and you'll probably realize that you did some shitty things. And then the cool part about it, the cops should be smoking outside while it's all happening. They go, yeah, bro, we all have bad days. No worries. No worries.
Hey, come bring it in.
Yeah, because I know we've talked about this so many times that you genuinely are more empathetic, just as you stated, and just more compassionate towards other people. You look for not commonalities, but just trying to get rid of the lines and just saying, hey, let's just coexist and talk, which is really funny because I mean, I was a really aggressive person for the majority of my life. And now I am just so relaxed. I'm better at communicating with my kids who get on my nerves to no end. And I've got it from a 16-year-old down to a 7-year-old. And dude, my 16-year-old, like, if it was like back in the day where I was growing up, like I would have been put in a wall. I probably got my ass kicked a couple times. And I'm just like, hey man, let's talk this out. Let's figure out why you're being a complete turd, and maybe we can help you out here. It
Frontal
just
cortex isn't developed yet. That's why.
right. So frustrating.
No decision making.
Nope.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to go back to so let's talk about the internal
Okay.
design.
So hold on, really quick. We were just talking about first hit when it's cold, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. Give me a second. I'm gonna go
Cool.
grab something out of my freezer, and this is gonna blow your guys' minds.
All right.
Dude.
I'm excited.
So check this out. I'm gonna grab a fresh pipe, open it up. So you got this little chamber down in here, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You could put an ice cube in there if you wanted to, but then it starts to melt, and you got water in your pipe. So what I do is I went and I found myself some of these steel balls, and I
Oh,
freeze the steel balls, and I put them inside.
Oh my gosh. That's brilliant.
dude.
And it cools your
I-
hit down as it goes over it. And that lasts longer than
And then it starts to cool the pipe down too because of just
dude, you need to have
cool.
You need a kit.
dude.
You need
I
that
like
in
it.
the kit, man. That would
Yeah.
be cool.
Added as a
So
piece.
we're working on it. We'll be coming out with some ball bearings pretty soon. We
Dude.
got a bunch of stuff that we're working on.
Oh, I know, man. I mean, and that's the cool part. Like, that and that actually segues really well. So the design inside, you got this like swirl that goes through like a question mark. Why is that yeah, right there, like that curve?
So, the shank itself, right? This is pretty tight, right? So if you had a straight shank just straight down the middle, you got a very small area before it actually gets to the filter itself. So by bringing it around the bowl, you allow the smoke to actually cool down and dissipate as it's going around before it gets to the filter itself. But this also helps cut down on the amount of ash that you get in your mouth if you're not using a filter. Because
Yeah.
not everybody's going to use a filter. I don't sometimes.
I don't know what that's like. I love the filter. It's so amazing. Just I get so many more flavor. I get so much more flavor.
I think there's
Mhm.
once that I didn't, and it's because I wanted to see what it would do differently, just to test it. Like what that experience would be.
What was that like?
Just like a pipe. It was a
Cool.
little bit cooler, like it, but it's a pipe. The filter makes
It's a pipe hit. Yeah.
the filter
It's
makes
just a better
difference.
pipe hit.
Yeah. So I did have a question with the filters Um, when it's 4 or 5 sessions or however many you say the number is, at the end of that time, is the filter spent as in carcinogens are now entering your body, or is it just more spent because of the flavor, because it's been through more bowls and obviously you want to switch the filter?
You know, I before you answer that, I actually wanted to say, like, I actually know when to change it because I don't get anything coming through. Like it just stops coming there. I'm like, oh, got to change my filter, and I just pop it open and exchange it. So
See,
that's been the litmus for me, is exchanging it by that.
because I was trying just to see, how many I could get through it, if it would be any difference, if it would just change in flavor. And I would say I probably ran 10 bowls through the filter.
Well,
However, I cleaned the pipe because it would clog too much for the pipe itself, obviously.
yeah.
So I would clean the rest of the pipe, but then just put the same filter back in,
Mm.
and it would pull just fine, but it would obviously have not as clean of a flavor. And so I wondered if that is, if you know.
So the way the filter works itself, it's activated charcoal. Essentially, that's all it is. It's carbon on the inside, right?
Mhm.
So the surface area of the carbon, the more that it comes in contact with your smoke, the cleaner the smoke is going to be, right? Like it's like looking at a tighter filter. So as your filter starts to get, like, if you just think of the same filter as the one that you have in your house that filters your air before it
Mm.
gets blown through,
Yeah.
as that gets more compacted, it's not going to work as well because it's not going to be pulling so much as through itself. So you're going to get less of the volume, but that volume is also going to have some of the particulates that have just been saturated there for such a long time. So like
Oh.
myself, I use a filter like 2-3 sessions tops, and they're not super expensive. And at the end of the day, like I have a family member who went through some pretty intensive like lung surgery, and that's really expensive. So when you're looking at it like that, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, you might have to buy more filters, but the amount that you're saving your lungs from is increased. So it's like that give and take, right?
Yeah.
Very
You know,
true.
if you're running 3 miles a day, you're not going to spend the amount on cardiovascular stuff later on. The same idea.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Totally makes sense. Yeah, I love that. And especially just knowing that snap, right? Just being able to pull it apart real quickly, clean it. We just cleaned it right before we got on. And it was so easy compared to any other pipe, especially like when we talk about vaporizers. I have talked out in the past, I've talked super highly of the PAX 3. I love the discreetness, I love the compactability. What I hate about it is that thing gets so damn dirty so quickly, and it's like it's like I'm making my own wax, and trying to clean that thing out is insane. And then when it's together, like it after the first time using it, it's never the same. It has this very weird flavor. I do like the convenience of it, but it's just because I could pack my bowl and roll. But
Right.
now I can pack my bowl and roll like super easy. And that's the cool part. Like if I'm going somewhere, I'm just going to be like, hey, might as well use this because I know I'm going to. And when I'm done taking the tumbler and just slapping that thing back on top, I love that.
It's great because I don't like my bowl to always keep rolling if I'm not sitting there smoking,
Mhm.
because I like to take a hit, keep working on something, come back, take a hit 5 minutes later, keep working on something. And if my bowl's rolling, I burn most of my product. And I literally just cap it, come back, keep going. And it's fantastic. Like I
Oh,
don't waste anywhere near as much product either.
And you're not wasting a coin.
I know, right? I actually
Save your
have some
money.
cool stones that I use. So sometimes I'll set it
Oh,
out
that's
on
cool.
top,
That's cool.
or like the grinder cap. I'll set the cap on my grinder
yeah.
on
Yeah.
top because, you know,
But this solves that problem.
yeah.
And jumping from that, I mean the tumbler up on top, guys, when you guys get your own, let me tell you it's just so cool.
Question
I
for
love
you.
that.
Did you actually wear it on a lanyard?
Yeah, I did.
When you were like mowing the lawn?
No, I was doing. I wanted to do mow the lawn,
Mhm.
but then I was just like, no, I need to get my 16-year-old mowing.
So
So I'm like, okay, but I just went around and did a bunch of chores. Totally
just
fine.
fine.
It just dangled.
I like that I can set it actually like this when I'm smoking, and I magnetize it just sticking out, and then I smoke, and then at the end I just flip it over and it's there too.
Oh,
So-
dude.
So
It's kind of like,
I have a good friend of mine that when he does it, right, he holds his pipe like this, and they
mhm.
just he has his
Oh,
the other way,
Yep.
and then he just pulls down on the front of it.
oh, that's cool.
Oh, nice.
That's brilliant.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No,
that's
and
really
what I
cool.
really love, you've got the bonfire,
Mhm.
and I love that. For those who need a little more, and for those who got a couple friends over, like that's a really effective. I mean, would you say that that would be like one filter's worth? Just the
Oh, probably because that's if you pack that full, I mean, you're going to be using a good amount a good amount of your butt. But if you pack it full, you're looking at like a good 16 hits, like good fat rips. So if you have like a group of people, 8 people, you can all take 2 hits each off of
man,
one
that's so
pipe
cool.
as it's being filtered. And it gets better because as you burn down, right? You normally when you have a really big bowl, it starts to taste nasty because of all the ash on top, and then you got to
Yeah.
like try to tap it out without tapping out your bud. Well, when you get halfway through it, you just turn it off,
Oh
and then
yeah.
it cleans it off, and then you have fresh greens underneath where the flame actually hasn't touched yet, right?
Oh, that's great.
Dude, that's great.
But
That's
and then
fantastic.
also like if you're out, right? Like sometimes you like to use a match, you get your match going. But what's cool about this, right? So you're blocking it with your hand, but then as soon as you get it inside the bowl,
What?
it's like a little wind block.
Yeah, that's way cool.
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
I just
Same
think
thing.
no
If you're using
headphone.
your you just like tuck it in there, and it's like a little wind block, so you don't have to try to cover your pipe as much.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then, if you really want to, you can take your hemp wick, right? And you can wrap it around the outside. So, like, it's just conveniently there for you.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
You should do that.
I know. That's what I was thinking. I have a big roll of it, so
Oh, that's so
Wrap it up, cut off a little bit. You got it where you want to be, because it's all
Mhm.
about traveling, right?
Well, I was
Want to
like that,
ramble
or
on.
even around the base, you've got all of these actual like indentations in there. You could literally
Well,
wrap.
you could, but then you have to worry about, have to
taking it
unwrap it
apart.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so have you guys done this yet? All right. So you got your bud, right? You got your flower, pack your bowl. But it's like one of those days where you're like having a lot of decisions to make, and at the end of the day, you don't want to decide whether or not you want to smoke a joint or pack a bowl because like your joint's really cool, but also you got that fire flower that you want to be using, right? And you got a joint.
Mm,
So that little carb, right? Those little threads, you can
yeah.
actually thread in, and then you can smoke a joint.
I have not done that yet, but that is really cool.
So
And then if you just want to smoke a joint, you have your, Rambler scab, and you just cover that, and then that blocks the airflow. So then
what?
it's like almost like a little Cruella de Vil.
Dude, that's some steampunk
brilliant.
looking shit
Yeah.
right there. That's
Yeah, I have not.
John, that's amazing. I would have never
Is
thought.
that too close to your face with the
No.
joint? Because it
So
comes
this
back
is this is
towards
a
you.
pretty big joint. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
here's a comparison to the pipe. Like
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
that's a
Yeah.
fatty.
it's a pretty
Nice.
big size. So I mean, but when it's in there,
No, it's far
it's
enough
not that
away.
like.
Yeah.
All right.
But then you're
Yeah,
also like
see?
not touching it and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we have something in the works that's going to go over the end of this. It's gonna just like kind of slide on. And it's gonna add like I don't know, like an inch or two
He
to
was
the
just
length of
asking.
it.
That was his thing. He was like,
That's
you
one
know
of
what
the
I
things
don't
that I've
like?
talked
It's
about,
not
and
long enough.
it's not for me, but I
I
know
love
that a
it.
lot of people that are new, it's harder sometimes lighting smaller pipes
Mhm.
because that's closer to their face. But then I was like,
Yeah.
for me, I tip it down, and so it's way far away from any of that. So But if you're new and you're starting it up here and you're trying to light it, you're
Like trying to
couple
look down
inches.
at it like this,
yeah, and then you're burning your eyebrows and stuff. So I'm like,
or
for
catching your hair on fire.
a new user, I'm like, that extra inch, that's what she said,
Totally.
would just make it so much better. So I'm just thinking, but that's way cool. That piece that would just slide over would make it fantastic for all of those new ones. Now, is that same piece available to slip it into a bong so that it fits in your down stem? Or is that
No,
also?
not yet, but that might we might be able to come out with something like that. But I mean, we are actually in the works for a bowl piece.
That's
Yep.
cool too.
I remember you
So-
talking about that, dude.
So pretty much picture this idea, right? But instead of the bowl being here,
It's on
at the
top.
top.
Yeah.
But you still have the same connection face. So if you want to use this stuff up here, you know, like say you want to like take a dab, right? So you grab yourself grab yourself the love connection, right? And you throw. Let's see, where is it? Oh, this one's right here. You guys seen these G Pen Connects? These things are pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
Traveling with this thing, because like, so check this out, right? Like little G Pen Connect case. But you know, like, oh man, it's hard to go places and take my bong to take dabs. I wish
Yeah.
there was a way that I could like, I don't know,
Take a dab.
take my pipe with me so I could take a dab wherever I want because it just splits apart and folds inside.
That's fantastic.
That's crazy. Oh,
a
dude.
little tiny carrying case. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's great. Yeah. So you just
Okay.
have it with your dab thing. Oh, so you hook your G Pen right into that, and then that's way cool.
That is way cool.
So what I like to do, and there's a couple ways of doing this, because you can just like pack a little bowl in there, you can throw that on, and then you know you're like gonna take a dab, but then you're saturating your flower all in that dab oil smoke, right? So instead of losing it to your pipe, you're saturating your butt.
Mm.
But if you don't want to do that, you can split it apart and stick a nug inside. And that way you just leave your nug in there and then you have like a dedicated dabber. And that way you're just like making your own little homemade moon rocks.
That's brilliant. Yeah. Man, I would totally put all that. But I would put my flower up top and then put a nug down below as well.
Oh man.
Yeah, because you know.
Dude, you should do that today.
And I don't have any dab right now. I need to get dab in order to
Maybe
do
I've
that.
got some
So
dab.
I just have
I might
to
have
get
some
some.
extra. You should take
Yeah.
it.
Let's see here. I got some oil. You want me to take a dab for you guys?
Yeah,
Take
that'd be
that for you
awesome.
guys.
Aw, that would be beautiful.
That would be cool. I want to see this in action because that's such a, you know, and while he's doing this, guys,
I'm gonna go load another bowl while you talk.
yeah. What I really like about this pipe is the versatility. Of course, Jonathan's showing us everything about it, right? He's showing like, did you ever think of this? I mean, I didn't even think about the joint thing. Like that's so crazy, right? But it just shows how versatile this is. When we start talking about products that you're trying to invest into, you look at the PAX 3 is going to run you about 350, and you're going to only get so much life out of it. And I'm just being very honest about it. It's vaporizer. I've had mine for a little over a year, and now it doesn't work the same anymore. Right.
Sorry for the crinkling. My bad.
No. I mean, but this is just such a cool product because of what you can be able to do with this. I mean, seriously, like I just feel like it's the go-to for anybody. And when you invest into a piece such as this, like anybody knows, like, yeah, you can go to a head shop and get some shitty little glass pipe over there, and you're going to get what you paid for. And then maybe upgrade to a bubbler, but you're having to clean it out all the time. This is so easy. And the price point is spot on. Absolutely spot on for a
Well, 'cause
long-term investment.
How much you said that that Fumo pipe that you bought that
Oh, dude, it
literally
was $100.
yeah, it was like $100 and it was kind of a waste on half of that. So when you look at that and it really didn't do much for it, and this has a filter, it does all of this cool stuff.
Hey,
Yeah.
when was the last time you used that?
When
Fumo?
pipe, the Fumo,
Yeah, the Fumo.
I
Yeah.
gave it away.
Yeah.
Oh, when was the last time you used that Happy Camper?
Just
Aside from today.
during this entire conversation.
Yeah. So the Fumo pipe was
I still
terrible.
love
He
this
left
part,
it.
Ethan.
He got
Listen
it,
to
and
that.
then he gave it to me because he never used it, and I never used it.
Oh.
I think I used it once or twice. Huh.
Okay.
John's taking a dab. It's beautiful.
Dude. That's cool.
So convenient, dude. Like, I'm telling you, I went and saw a show the other day and I took this with me. This is what I used. It was just like one time and I was good to go.
What are you puffing on?
Yeah, to ask me when I started dabbing.
That's okay. I figured you'd get to it when you finished. Priorities. You can't do it on the inhale. Oh my gosh. That tastes delicious.
Oh, did you try? What did you try?
So this is 22K Blue Dream live rosin crystals.
Mmm. That sounds delicious. It looks fantastic.
Oh man.
It's really good. It's
We're-
really good.
Puffing on some soap. Some soap. Wow.
Yeah. Soap, but this has been this amazing strain. I absolutely love this strain. Cotton mouthy is all can get, but I'll tell you, just awesome. Just super
So-
awesome. Just the flavors you get through this pipe.
When you guys got that and you saw soap, did you just instantly think Fight Club?
I kind of joked around about it. I was like, you know what it does? What soap does to you is it just makes you feel like really cool. It just makes you not want to be an asshole. So start using some soap so you can clean out your dirty asshole, right? So just quit being such an asshole. But it was so good. Like I just love the flavors. I love the experience. It's so consistent.
That was incredibly smooth.
Yeah.
Like now, obviously it's cooling down the dab a little bit. What is the experience of a dab through that filter, through that pipe?
So actually, I don't even have a filter in there.
Oh,
I
okay.
just have the nug.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
when you're doing a dab, hopefully all of the plant matter has been extracted out, so you don't need to have it in there. I do have a lot of friends that like to do dabs with it in because it does like it restricts it a little bit, but it's like a one-time dab session your filter is used just because it gets
shot.
so saturated with the oil, which is kind of fun to do sometimes just to like see like, whoa, that's what's going into me. Dang, that's some thick, gooey stuff.
Well, you think about it, because how many times when you have used a dab rig and you're seeing how much it coats the whole neck, everything else, you're like, okay, well, how much of that is going down my throat? How much of my lungs are coated with dabs?
So getting back to the whole health thing, it's man, I do like a bong rig. Like, let me tell you, right? We're coming out with a bowl, so you can use your bong. But when you're taking a bong rip, you are taking water particles into your lungs. Like, if you cover a bong and you take a rip, like with a paper towel, like you can see that the bottom of the paper towel is a little damp. So that dampness is getting inside your lungs, and your lungs really don't like to be damp. They don't like water in them, period. So if you look at the correlation between like cancer and cigarettes, it's really high. Well, if you look at the correlation between bong use and lung infection, as far as like, bronchitis, tuberculosis, like all these like crazy things, it's like pretty dang
Super
high.
high.
And that was one of the other
Huh.
reasons I was like, hey, there's these really cool tobacco filters that have been out for a really long time that have been proven to like catch all the nastiness without having to dampen your lungs. You have that nice dry hit, right?
Yeah.
That's why they're always talking about a drier hit. Like all those like cigarette commercials back in the day. Oh, the driest hit. We use this filter. Well, it's kind of there's some knowledge to that.
That's funny, man. No, I love it. I
more
just
you know.
like that. The filter for me is it's a need.
It is really cool.
It is
Yeah.
because of just one, I like that I know that I'm getting a cleaner hit.
I love that. I think that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah. Like that's why I've never like when I got the Fumo pipe, like it was pretty cool. It was like this cool little bowl that you would like. I don't know if you've seen them. where you light it up and it fills this little tube like a weird bong type thing, and then you press your trumpet thing, and your little and that thing was weird. It hardly worked, and when you would, I mean, you were going to get the hit anyways, but it pulls it in, and it's really dry, but it's so much.
I
I don't
didn't
know.
feel like it was anything special.
I didn't feel it.
honestly.
I was really upset about it.
I
was
know.
really
I
upset.
mean,
You were pissed you spent that much money on the bike.
Because I saw these stony girls reviewing it years ago. It was like, it's great. We love it. And I'm like, that looks pretty cool. Like, I want something like that.
so is it like I've never actually seen one myself. Is it like to fill up a chamber and like let the smoke cool for a second before you actually pull it in?
So I'd say it's about 6 inches long, 5 to
Mhm.
6 inches long total, and about 2 of that is metal, and then the other
It's just a
3.5,
plastic
4 is a
tube.
glass tube. And that bowl, it just has a metal button that you push down, and it's supposed to basically open the carb and let air in to push the smoke in. But the problem is that tube is so short and you're inhaling it all anyway.
Mhm.
So it's literally just coming into it.
pointless.
And then you push that, and at the end, it just forces it down your throat. But that's really all it would be doing. It's not I don't think it's a great concept for it.
It was an aluminum it's a
Chamber,
little
yeah.
bowl, but it was a tiny, tiny bowl. For
Mhm.
$100. I was like, this is a lot of investment for this tiny little bowl. And then to clean it out, it had a screen in that. And that's another place we could talk about too. How did you guys come up with the design for this permanent screen? I love the screen, and here's why, real quick before you go into it. It's real easy to clean, and I'm not scratching the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's not like the mesh. And the mesh is supposed to be able to
Oh.
grab as much as it can, but that's where that little chamber is below. Like, it just, the ash falls into that. So I only get the good stuff that's coming through. Is that pretty much how it works?
So I mean, this whole design, that design, yeah. I mean, my idea behind it was, when you pack a bowl and then you take a bong rip, and after your first rip, you have little green things floating in your water, and you're like, arg,
Yeah.
why? So you have to use a screen to minimize that, right? Well, I want to do that, but that fine mesh gets clogged up real quick. So how do we find the in between? That's what it's about. It's all about finding that sweet gray area that's just the perfect balance of the dark and the light. And so that's where this came out of. And this is kind of wild. The size we came out with, that little tool that it comes with, it was all by accident that it just happened to fit in the hole that perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, it was
It's
that's
great.
completely by accident.
I was just happy that you guys include the toker poker, because that has been my favorite tool to use for
Seriously.
years. I've had several of them. And so when you guys included, I did a post about that toker poker months ago. And then it was fantastic because when Jesse was showing me the kit, I looked and was like, fuck yeah, they have a toker poker they send out with that. Like, this is literally the best tool to ever have.
Yeah, and speaking about that, so there's a whole kit you have. You can buy the pipe by itself, and it doesn't have all the bells and whistles. So I recommend 100%. It's what we got. It is the full kit. It comes with your bonfire, your rambler, and the love connection.
Yeah.
And with 4 filters to get you. I mean, definitely you
So
need to order a lot
really
more.
what that is your bigger bowl for your party bowl, your dabbing connection, and this cool little top. And yeah, and it comes in this sweet metal tin. Ours
Yeah.
has Cannabis School engraved on it because John was
You
way
guys are
cool
awesome.
and decided to do that for us. So
Can't forget. Can't forget.
oh
Right?
yeah.
You got your rolling tray if you want to use it.
Oh,
also, so one of my favorite things, and you can't see it from ours, but we'll put a close-up shot of it in there. There's this little stony faced guy in the lid, and he's also in the lid of like on top of their box and that. So we'll put a close-up shot of it. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh, it's such a cool. I love this.
Unfortunately,
So-
yours won't be as cool as ours because ours have Cannabis School podcast engraved on the sides, but they're definitely
Only
worth.
2 in existence, baby.
I know.
So you got your Ramblers cap, right? That's the cover. And then you got your threaded stem. Looks like a little mushroom. Then this little pocket down here. This is your bonfire.
It's a
Nice little
beast.
ring. That's where you wrap your wick.
I love that
This is
idea.
the love connection.
So cool.
Dropping things,
Forgetting.
but it doesn't matter because it's aluminum.
I know. It's so solid. Literally, the feel of this is like the sturdiest pipe I've ever had.
Yeah.
Or your bowl splits apart.
Well, and you think about how many people, how many pipes have you guys broken?
Filters.
For
Oh,
reals,
dude.
like I have had
The
endless
heartbreak on some of
amounts.
them.
So my garage was always my smoking area for the
Mhm.
longest time. And that meant it was cement floors. And we had just got a brand new bong from Denver from this rewards points. And it was like, oh my God. We set it on the table. Someone knocked it off and it shattered the entire
Oh
thing.
no.
We didn't even smoke out of it yet. And we were like, what the fuck? And that was probably one of at least 15 pieces that shattered on that. Like, oh yeah, it was
Crap.
Bro,
horrible.
you should have got mats. Come on now.
Oh, I do now. But like at the time, it was just horrible. Yeah.
Toker tool, right? That's it right
Beautiful
there. That's what
tool.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, those little holes, that's what that's for.
Yeah, the
Well,
one thing I would say that I didn't, it was really frustrating at first, but then Brandon showed me there's little the got those holes there. Yeah, that's what he yeah, totally like to right after, because if you're trying to split this thing with the filter in it, it's a pain in the ass and you're gonna end up pinching
you
your
gotta have that
fingers.
climber strength, bro.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, yeah, I don't have
Really on
that.
top, but it's so cool. Just stick it into the mouthpiece and just
Yep.
give it a quick push.
Or if like if you have your like little dab tool, your little dab tool will work too. You just anything that really shove in there.
Yeah, that's
Toothpicks will
hard.
not work. You got to use like a
Yep.
few of them. And then if you are trying to open it, here's a little trick. It's almost like a book, right? You're like you got to like split it in half that way.
That's awesome.
Oh man. Yeah, I have this nifty tool that came with my Dr. Dabber switch, and it's meant for picking up the bowl out of it. And so it has this little hook, and I literally just
Oh,
stick it in
interesting.
and I lift it and it just pops it up nicely. And I just separate it and I'm like, oh, but that's
So nice.
just because I have that nifty little tool. But if
Yeah,
not,
this
I
will work
love
for
that.
this.
Yeah, the little toker poker is fantastic for that. So
Yeah.
So let's talk about like what are people looking at as far as investing into this? And I would not recommend buying everything separate. You need to buy the full kit.
So the full
It's not
kit's
even worth it.
it's 165 for the full kit. That gets you everything. Right now it comes with 4 pieces. We are working on more. I mean, we're talking right now, and you guys are talking about like the chamber and the release and whatnot. Okay, so here, okay, right now, what do you guys think? So like a little connection piece that slaps on there, about yay big, about maybe that tall. Two-way valve, has a little chamber off to the side for a little bowl, and you lift it up, and it creates a vacuum in the chamber right here, and then you push it down, and then it pushes it through your pipe, kind of like a
what?
gravity bong.
That would be way cool.
Dude.
Yeah. I like that idea because it's
All
like
right, all right.
it's like all those cookies or Studebaker ones that you see, and you're like, oh, cool. But instead, it's just a tiny piece for your pipe.
Oh,
That would
that
be
is so
amazing.
cool. See,
Yeah.
that's what I love about this product is that there is there's a roadmap of different products that will eventually come out that are not just being able to enhance the happy camper, but the 5280 brand as a whole, because now you got attachments for a bong to be able to start getting cleaner hits from your bong, like all these
Oh,
different things, dude. Like,
Or if now, because of this new education from John about like, hey, you don't want a wetter hit, maybe it is
but I mean,
smarter to
if you
stay.
do want to still get a wet hit, I mean, you can still use a bubbler with your filter.
oh
It's
yeah,
true.
So
That's
check
cool.
this out, right? You got a bubbler. So make sure, got a nug in there. Let's take the nug out because we don't get the nug wet, right?
Yeah,
Pulling the
definitely
water
not.
through. We'll grab a filter.
And now I'm gonna have to go get an attachment to like.
That's cool, right?
Oh yeah, that's a nice.
See, that's
nice
the
little
fun thing
attachment.
about glass that like you can never replace is the the artistry of it, the
It's
ability
true.
to
Yeah.
see the percolation. It's a beautiful thing. It's
It
a
is.
artwork in and of itself, right? A very unique style.
Well, and that's glass has always been an art, and that's why it's
I
really
mean, look
cool
at
to
this thing.
get some. Yeah, that's a
Check this
sweet
guy
name.
out on Instagram. Spencer J. Glass. This guy's awesome.
Wow.
Like his piece of salt. I've like, I mean, one of the reasons why I came out with this, it's aluminum. I drop pieces, like you're saying.
Yep.
I've
Yep.
dropped this a couple times. This thing is held up. Let me tell you, I was shocked. I was like, bro, that thing has a shattered head.
Oh, I have a
Yeah.
friend they have cement floors in their house, like those weird painted cement or whatever it is. And
They're not watching. Don't worry. It's okay.
oh, they might
Just talk
be.
about how weird it is.
No, they might have it anyway. It's not his house, his brother built it. So but basically they have this bong and he dropped it on their cement from like almost 2 feet. It didn't break.
No way.
It didn't
I love
break.
it.
Yeah, they
Ooh.
still have it. It just chipped the base a little bit. And oh, what is the name of that company? I don't know. It'll come to me if it's important. So
As soon as you think of it,
yeah.
that's
But I was
crazy.
like, what in the hell? That's an amazing piece. So, and for a bong, I feel like any piece hitting cement.
Hollywood High. This is
Mm,
their gelato. I love me some gelato.
I like gelato. It's a good strain. It's a
Mm,
beautiful looking nug.
dude.
That Cali grown,
Are you in Northern Cali?
No, I'm in SoCal, brother.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
I'm in Orange County, baby.
shoot.
Yeah, West Coast, Best Coast, as far as bud goes
Uh,
for me. I mean,
Hey,
I'm
shout out.
excited to see, though. I've heard a lot of Cali growers are moving to Oklahoma, so I'd be curious to see what comes out of Oklahoma in the couple years to come.
yeah,
And that's what it's about. It's not about I'm from this place or that place. I mean, you know,
it's just a different
brothers is all in
experience.
all
And
is in brothers.
well,
So it's all
it's
about better bud.
yeah, it's all
Yeah.
about better bud, but it's cool to see the diversity of the bud. Well, you can try a blue dream from California and then have a blue dream from Colorado and then have a blue dream from Utah. They're all going to be a little bit different from each other just based upon where they were grown and the process and
But you
how they
still
were grown.
notice like
You
similarities in
totally do.
notes and the experience in that too.
But there's just a slight difference. That's why I'm
Jesse,
very partial to California.
you were talking about sommeliers earlier, right? With the
Mhm.
wine. So this is wild. I used to be a bartender at a boutique wine shop. Ooh. And one of the things that I learned about wine is one of the biggest things that like people who are super into wine like geek out about is soil content.
That's
And I'm
Really?
telling you, it is a deep subject. It is wild. So like yeah, like the different
Really?
ways they're doing it now. Oh, dude, it's crazy. Like the science, like they have people that go out there and they take soil samples to see
it's
what
like
they need to supplement into the soil to make it the perfect type of growing like area for a
for that
particular
location.
varietal of grape
That's
because
cool.
it's different from a Pinot to a Chardonnay.
And that's so crazy too, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you can definitely that's like with people who really enjoy wine. You know, we don't say that people who get into cannabis should definitely go down this path, but it does make the experience better where you can start tailoring your experience based upon what you know about the plant, what's
Oh,
in the plant.
cheers.
Cheers, brother.
So that just goes in the love connection then, basically. That's cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dude.
Huh. Yeah, because it's just a bubbler add-on piece. That's brilliant.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's dry, so smooth.
Oh my God.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I can show you.
That's brilliant. I need to get me one of those. I just have a solid bong that I use. I have a separate bubbler. I have multiple pipes. Oh man.
So this is after one hit with a bubbler. You see how it's like dark and wet.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
I totally can.
Weird.
So that's what I'm talking about. That's the dampness of taking a hit from a bong.
Yeah, I
Man.
noticed that. I mean, after we had talked our first time engaging, you had told me about that, and I had my little bong, and I did that, and I could definitely, while I was paying attention, I could feel it. I could feel it go
Weird,
in.
right? Like once you think about it, it's like, oh, this is kind of weird now.
Yeah, like get all this.
Man, now it's gonna make me think I need like a mouth filter to like filter that shit on my bong.
But I mean, there you go. It's already there, right? I mean, that's really cool. And you'd said
Mouth filter.
you're building something out
Yep.
soon. That's
Yeah,
so
we're-
crazy. That's so crazy. Okay. So we've gone through all of it. You guys will be able to get this in full review. We can't recommend this enough.
Nah,
This
it's
is seriously
fantastic
like
taste.
the
Question for
best
you,
product
John.
I've tried.
And this might be a really hard question to answer because it sounds like you've been partaking for years. Do you have a favorite strain?
I do. Jack.
Jack
Oh,
Ferrer.
yeah, that's such a good strain.
And when it comes down to it, it's just like anything mixed with Jack. Anything. Just that particular Jack smell of, a little extra pine. It's got that like particular Jack zing to it. I don't know how to explain it. It's amazing.
That's
It's
cool.
like yeah.
Is that what you were smoking when the thought of this came to fruition?
Oh man. Let's see.
Or was that like a mushroom trip, like the podcast?
No, I think let's see. I think I was hanging out with a friend and I think we might have been actively looking up like the importance of cleaning things. Like I think we might have gotten high and been like, how often should you clean your stuff? Like when it comes down to it. And yeah, it was like, ooh, okay. Yeah, change your water every time. All right, gotcha.
Oh,
Try
yeah.
to make sure it gets dry quickly. Okay.
Man,
Oh, okay. But check this out really quick. If you do smoke a bong, I have the craziest hack for you right now. All right.
all right.
I'm gonna save you so much time. Because I hate cleaning things. When you go to clean your bong, ISO, salt, just as always, right? Put it in there. Don't cover, where the bowl piece goes. Leave that open. But the part where you draw from, cover that with a towel that's folded over twice. And then use your vacuum hose to percolate the ISO as if you were taking a hit.
Oh, what?
So
That's
that way
brilliant.
that way you don't have to worry about shaking your glass and breaking it.
That's cool. So, have you ever heard of Zep degreaser?
Zep degreaser. No, I mean Zep sounds familiar, but I'm not sure. Oh man, I'm excited.
Yeah, Brandon's like who did we see? It was Eric Kahn, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, greaser. Gotcha.
So there's this big thing.
Yeah. Zep. Okay.
Go
Yeah,
to
I know what you're talking
Lowe's,
about.
and if you go to Lowe's, that big jug is $12. And that will clean all of your pieces for the longest time. And all you do, you don't need to shake it around. You just fill it like maybe halfway up with that, and then the rest with water, just so it balances out. You let it sit in there for about 10 minutes and then rinse it out with hot water. And then
That's
it's
it.
perfectly spotless every time.
Yeah,
Okay.
we recently did that with the Happy Camper too. When we cleaned it, we just put the Zep in there, equal part of water, hot water, and just dropped it in there. Left it in there for maybe it was in there for 5 minutes. I pulled it out and just wiped it out with a paper towel, and that was done. It was super easy.
Okay, so check this out. If you go onto Amazon, you can actually find this stuff called limonene, and it's just
The terpene?
I'm pretty sure that's what
Or
it
like
is.
a,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
it's an extract of orange peel.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so you can find this, and it's not super expensive. It's like $12 for like a quart, I think. But
Oh,
when you
wow.
use it, you have to put gloves on because it will strip the oils off your hands like instantly. But it is the fastest way to get any oil off of anything,
Holy
period.
shit. Really?
but it leaves a very strong smell of citrus. So you have to follow it up with Dawn and then clean that with ISO. And
Holy
then
shit.
if you can, ethanol, just pure 100% ethanol. It'll get your bowl the cleanest. But that's how they're doing it in the labs.
Holy shit.
But
Yeah.
that's how you get
That's
your piece
That's a
perfectly
the
step.
cleaning.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it'd
like
be clean.
yeah.
Yeah, the Zep. I mean, this is that's one
That's
thing too.
insane.
It's super cool. It's easy to clean. This
Yeah.
is so easy to clean. It is not cumbersome at all. Just
Oh,
like we were talking about getting stuff caught in there and the mold that can
and
grow on these things.
the product that you want to look up is D-limonene.
D-line.
D-limonene. Okay.
D-limonene. Yeah.
Interesting.
D-limonene. Yeah.
All
Look
right.
it up. But be careful. Gloves. If you're gonna use it, gloves, okay? Rubber gloves. I'm telling you right now.
That's
Rubber
funny.
gloves. And then I'm gonna show you how easy it is to clean this.
All
Like
right.
right now.
All right.
Okay.
That's cool. I keep the valve stem on. I like being able to control the airflow.
So the one thing I'm thankful for is social media, because I didn't realize about pulling the plug entirely out. Jesse was just like, "Oh, you can adjust it." But then I saw Chucky Fuego on Instagram and I was like, "What the fuck? Why didn't I think of pulling that out?" That's a car.
Chucky!
That's literally all it is.
You wouldn't even think to be able to put a joint in there either. You know what I mean?
Well, I
This
just-
thing is so versatile.
It is. It's amazing.
Really, it's the
Oh.
MacGyver of pot smoking.
And then really quick, y'all. So when you're taking a hit, right? A lot of people might have like the thing where they get caught right here with their lighter.
Yeah.
When you use a lighter, this is the proper way to use a lighter. I'm gonna explain it right now. So when you light it like this and you tip it that way, you burn your thumb. So if you light it and you turn your hand over and you make a J into your bolt, your piece doesn't get caught on the magnets and you don't burn your thumb. It also makes the flame extend out a little bit.
Look at that. Nifty tricks. I don't think. Let's see how I do mine. Oh, yeah, I just stick mine down like that anyway. Yeah. I was trying to think. I'm like, I don't know how I like
I'm not sure.
Yeah, no,
Shoot.
it's definitely a stoner moment right there. I'm like, wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. I don't know if I do it that way.
I
Oh,
mean,
do.
you think about it, and it's
Yeah.
been over a decade, so I don't know a thing or two at this point.
This is, man, this is so cool. This is so cool. So you burn through that.
We'll pull it out. There's the filter. Throw the filter away. You can see a dirty piece, right?
Yeah.
It's not crazy dirty, but it's dirty.
Just got
Oh,
that
but like you can
ash.
also see like I don't know if you can see it or not. It might not. Do you see how much darker it is here compared to down here?
Oh, yeah.
Massively.
That filter.
That gold
It
color
makes
one is
such a
actually really
difference.
cool because then
Yeah.
you can see everything. I've got the skulls. Love that one.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Skull ball.
Okay, so wipe it out.
It does wipe out super nice. Yeah.
Grab your hot water. Remember that thing I had to go grab in the beginning? I was like, oh, hold on
Oh,
a second,
yeah.
guys. So this is some hot water. It's just
Yep.
hot water, right? There's nothing else in it, just hot water. So you get your bowl hot, right? Because when the resin gets hot, it gets loose. And that's the idea. You just want to make it loose. So you just stick it in there. So say you're camping. Oh man, your bowl's dirty. I don't want a dirty bowl while I'm camping. You heat up some water.
And then you
You
blow
dip
it
it
out.
in.
What's that? Is that really how fucking simple it is?
It was just water. Okay, there's no ISO in that.
That looks really clean.
Getting there. All right, so you get it wet, and you get your dry one.
And right now, for those that are listening, he's going through. He's dipped it into the hot water, just the top part with the mesh,
The bowl. Yeah.
and then all he's doing is just wiping it out. So if you're Like, I don't like using any type of chemicals or anything like that. It's insane. It's super clean.
Yeah,
It's just water. See the top one? Just water.
that's fantastic. That's super clean from
Oh,
just water.
wow. That's insane.
And then if you just want to keep like, rubbing at it, it eventually just completely comes clean. And you don't have to worry about how hard you push on your
Yeah.
bowl
Yep.
because it's not going to break.
You're not
No
gonna
screen,
yeah.
no
there's
glass.
no worry about shattering your piece in your hand.
Oh, that would be horrible. Have you done that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I've
that's a
not
pretty
done that, but
intense
I've
cleaning.
definitely dropped a few in my day while I was cleaning them.
Yeah, me too.
Which
Or
is
like
like,
hit the sink or something and then it shatters and you're like, fuck.
it's the
That's
worst
worse.
feeling. You're like, I shouldn't even cleaned it.
Yeah. I'm just always like, fucking high ass. And then I'm like, I don't even feel high though at the moment. It's just like me blaming myself for breaking it.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty good right now. I
I feel
smoked that bowl.
nice,
I'm
but
feeling
like,
great.
yeah. How far is your bowl? Oh, did you finish your bowl?
Yeah, I
Oh,
finished my
man.
bowl. He burnt
Yep,
through that.
just with water though.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's
It's
impressive.
So literally no
super-
alcohol. So then you don't have to worry about putting alcohol down your sink, polluting you know what I mean?
That's great for camping too, though. That's really
Yeah,
simple to
and like
clean.
if you really want to, you can like throw this into some water, and you don't even have to boil it. You just have to get it hot. Take it out with some tongs. Let it cool down for a second. Like, don't boil your water with the pipe in it. It doesn't even need to get that hot. You just have to get the water loose. Seriously. You're
Yeah.
at home, you have a microwave, get a cup of water, microwave it for 30 seconds, put your piece in there, see if it's hot, pull it out. Once you can touch it with your fingers, you can wipe it out.
That's cool.
So easy.
That's way nice.
So it's 160 for the full kit. We would recommend that. Absolutely. You have every pipe,
Yes, sir.
every bit that you need. You can be able to order filters directly through them. Now, Jonathan's been really kind.
He sent us a bunch of filters.
Yeah, but more than that, what he wants to be able to do is help out some of these listeners to this episode. So,
Oh, that's
Jonathan, you said you created a code for us.
Yeah, so you go to get5280.com and at checkout, use code word school, and you'll get 10% off of your entire order just for watching the podcast.
So worth
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
And you
So
guys
so worth it.
feel free to pass that on to whoever you feel deserves it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's fantastic.
It's so cool. So,
Yeah, I really
guys,
appreciate you guys. Thank you for
Oh.
having me on.
Thank you
we've
for
enjoyed
coming
this,
on.
man. Thank you so much. Thank you for inventing this awesome pipe.
This is
And
incredible.
yeah, you guys will be hearing more about this pipe through us and to our listeners all over. Now, I know this is only stateside, so one thing I want to include, guys, is this is 100% U.S. made.
100.
Nothing has been imported, nothing at all. This design, everything that goes into it.
Oh,
And it says right there on the tin. Yep.
And if not, we'll put one that you can see on it.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
Exactly.
It
Power of
is
technology.
yeah, buddy.
so awesome. And yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
But
Jesse.
thanks for tuning in, guys. Jonathan, thanks for coming on the
Hey.
show. It's been
Hey,
fantastic.
no, thank you for having me, dude.
Yeah.
Looking forward to a brilliant friendship. It's gonna be a great time with gentlemen. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me on. You can follow the business at get the number 52, the word 80 on Instagram and across like all social media. You can go online and you can find us at get5280.com. Any way, shape, or form you want to put that in. You can follow me on Instagram at Happy Camper High. Thank you
Cool.
so much for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you for
And
having me on.
all
guys.
of those we'll make sure in the show notes.
Yeah,
So,
we'll have it
yeah,
in the show notes.
go ahead and follow John. Check it out.
Get
All
yourself
right,
a pipe.
gentlemen.